This is the Al-Maida Initiative, conversation without compromise.
After Imam Ali, Imam Hassan succeeded him, and there's a battle between the struggle between Muawiyah and Imam Hassan. And Imam Hassan saw that he comes to the conclusion that the people who were really out there, the strife going on, was really more like about material power or tribalism or whatever. And he said, look, there's no point pursuing this conflict, and he makes peace with Muawiyah. Right, under the peace of Muawiyah, it was a clear understanding that Muawiyah will not really select somebody to designate him. Muslim community would appoint, but instead Muawiyah, when he dies, he appoints Yazid, his son, to come to the caliphate. And Yazid actually, and obviously Muawiyah, Imam Hassan himself was poisoned by his wife. There's another story about that. But I mean, I focus on Yazid.
So just for the listeners, Muawiyah is the fifth Khalifa.
Well,
right,
I mean, he usurped the Khilafat, right? And we don't, there's no unanimous consensus.
Sure.
I mean, the only unanimous, the four rightly guided caliphs is that what Muslims will say. And of course, Shia Muslims will say the rightful position was for Imam Ali to be the first Khalifa. Although history says he did not really get that opportunity. He got opportunity 25 years later. But when Yazid comes in, Yazid had many corrupt, ways, and he had unjust approaches, and he was all about again material control and so forth, and he always perceived threat from the family of the Prophet, and Imam Hussein, the son of Imam Ali, was the person of the time. So he actually, in his scheme, he says, okay, I'm going to seek pledge of allegiance from Hussein. So he sends his people in Medina. They summon him to a meeting place, and they ask him to give his allegiance, bay'ah. And Imam Hussein said, look, I'm not going to pledge allegiance to somebody who's corrupt. And if you think that that's really not acceptable, then I'm going to move out of Medina, avoid conflict. And he goes to Mecca. When he goes to Mecca, he learns that there was a plot out there to assassinate him. Now, at the same time, people in Kufa, right, in what is present-day Iraq, right, they were really looking for somebody to come and guide them, lead them. So they wrote letters, thousands of letters, to come, and we need a leader. So Imam Hussein said, well, okay, here the people don't want me in Medina. They're going to assassinate me in Mecca. I'm going to head to Kufa.
And was Kufa Ali's capital?
That's right. Imam Ali is, he actually has Khilafat in Kufa. So Imam Hussein actually sends his cousin, Muslim Aqil, to Kufa to actually survey the land, the situation there, and to see if how things were going. And thousands of people came and welcomed him, and in the mosque of Kufa, they prayed behind him and so forth, right? And this news goes to Yazid that, hey, this is going on. So at that point, Yazid then sends his people and schemes things, and he brutally has Muslim ibn Aqil assassinated. Right now, Muslim has sent message to Imam Hussein, come here to Kufa, people are waiting for you, and he was desperate to get the message out that, look, don't come, because the things in Kufa have turned after I sent the message. At that point, Imam Hussein was already on his way to Kufa. And he didn't get the message in time. He gets the message that a Muslim has been assassinated on the way to Kufa. And as he was going over there, he gets actually diverted to another route, and then eventually gets stopped at Karbala, right? And it was really in the month of Muharram, right, that these people, it was really, first of all, the Hur was the guy who actually stops him. And then, a very interesting story about Hur, I'll tell you later on. But then he's refused to go. He said, look, I'll go back. But he's refused to go, and he's prevented to go to Kufa. And he's actually refused to turn back. He was stationed there. And I think the commanders of Yazid then got the message, massacre his lot. And Imam Hussein, gave freedom to all the people he had. Look, don't stay with me, because my fate is uncertain, and it could be very serious. But if you need to leave, go. But the 72 of his companions stay with him, and his family stay with him. And on the 7th of Muharram, right, this cut of the water. Now, when Hur stops Imam Hussein's army, the army of Hur was really thirsty. And the Imam Hussein satiates them with water to the point whereby people were so thirsty, they didn't know how to handle it. But Imam Hussein does all this stuff. And it's ironically that on the 7th day of Muharram, the same people who were actually given water, they cut off the water supply to Imam Hussein and his families and his companions. Right? On the 10th day of Muharram, massacre happens. Now, obviously, the night of Ashura, Hur, the commander of Israel, he realized what he had done. He says, well, this is a big mistake I made. I mean, I should not have stopped. So he actually goes there to Imam Hussein and says, look, please, I'm sorry for what happened. Accept me as one of your companions, And Imam Hussein says, you are free. You truly are born free. Hur means freedom, and you truly are free because you're living your conscience. And Hur turns out to be one of the first martyrs of Karbala, right? Although that says that, basically in Islam, in the true Islam, there's never a hatred. In the case, I would say that, for example, if you look at it, Hur was the guy we could blame, saying you are the person who actually stopped Hussein's force, right? And if Imam Hussein had any kind of hatred for people, how can he accept Hur, who was the person who actually caused these things? But who said, no, you did it, you didn't know better, you're free. And he accepts him and really appreciates her support. So, on the day of Ashura, it was really a sad day. I mean, on the night of Ashura, again, Imam Hussein, by the way, when Imam Hussein leaves Medina, and his message was, look, my mission, my movement is about reformation, reforming the nation of my grandfather, to bring them to enjoin what is good and to forbid what's evil. Amr bil ma'ruf means to encourage people to do good, to forbid evil. If you think about it, right? I mean, the Yazid's army were the ISIS of the present time, right? Compared to that, they were the kind of things. So, on the 9th of Muharram again, they engaged in a whole night of worship because they knew that the next morning was going to be a very difficult day for them. And the day starts with I'm sorry. The day starts with the call to prayer by prophets, Imam Hussein's son, Ali Akbar. And people pray in the morning. And I think that battle starts and, people, even in the state of battle, they don't give up the prayer. When they were praying, for example, people would stand in front and people would pray. Imam Hussein was telling that this is not about power. This is about freedom to worship God. That's what it's all about. And when you look at you see, the tragedy of Karbala is a very difficult tragedy for any believer of the Prophet to bear. So whenever we recall this thing, it's very difficult for us. So we see in that day, Imam Hussein sacrifices all his family, his children, his companions, his brothers, right? His nephews and nieces, and there's nothing left for them. And in the afternoon, he's alone on the battlefield, and the Yazid's army decapitate him and kill him. Then they set fire to the tents of Imam Hussein. They loot, they plunder the Prophet of Islam and his family. This is a great tragedy, and this is what Ashura is about. So the reason we commemorate, first of all, is to remember the great sacrifice of the Prophet Muhammad and his family. And the second is to never let that quest for freedom and justice die in our hearts, right? You see, when there was this battle of Karbala that took place, and when they saw the decapitated bodies of the family of the Prophet, Imam Hussein's son, Zain al-Abidin, who was sick, who didn't really go to battle, he actually was depressed, and he's looking at all this carnage, and it was very depressed. So Bibi Zainab, who was a sister of Imam Hussein, said, look, don't look at this. I see nothing but beauty. I mean, she was a person of vision. She knew that the great tragedy that took place, right, will continue to attract believers many years from now. Even if you're not a Muslim, you will see the experience of Karbala, and there will not be, your conscience will connect with that. You will not be able to stop tears for that. And the thing is that you will never accept injustice. And you will always fight for freedom, which really is the mission of the Prophet. Because the Prophet says, Hussein minni wa ana min Hussein. I am from Hussein, and Hussein is from me. Now, obviously, we know that Hussein was from the Prophet, who's his grandson. But why is it that I am from Hussein? It was really up to Imam Hussein and his family to revive the message of the Prophet.